right, welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We talked a little bit about the Guardians in the first hour. Well, a lot about.
We talked a lot about the Guardians in the first hour.
We did, because there's a lot to talk about. For this segment, let's just boil it down to the new guys, the four new guys.
But before we dive in,
Lowe,
the reason I wanted to put this in today's show is you weren't here yesterday when we reacted for 45 minutes on the trade. So this was a chance for you to give us your thoughts overall on the Guardians before we dive into which of the acquisitions.
Okay, well, you guys know that I was not a proponent for going all in because I don't think this team.
You were a seller. You said they should have sold last week.
Yeah, I would have. I would have tried to. If you get better for the future. I just don't think 2026 is the year. Mm-hmm. Look, I could be wrong. We could be, we could be in the World Series a couple of months from now, and I would love to be wrong. But we're talking about an offense that is 30th in baseball. They were close to 30th last year if they weren't 30th last year. We know what this team is. Did you become a World Series team by adding two hitters? I don't think so. Now, I liked the trades. All of that being said, I would not have done them. I would not have gone that far. But Cozart was like our second pick just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that it's not like we gave up. I've seen people say we gave up nothing for these players. That's not true.
No, they gave up, but they didn't give up the names at the top that everybody is.
Thank God, because we had all said those guys should be off limits.
Yeah.
I know Bull was trying to swing for the fences and go for this mythical player that's going to put us on his back and carry us to the World Series. And in that scenario, he would have been okay dealing, Ralphie or Hana or one of these other guys. I don't know that would have been. I'm glad they didn't do that. We protected the guys that we needed to protect. Mm-hmm. We brought in four guys that I think can make a difference. I really do. All of that being said, I still don't look at this team with these additions and think that we're a deep playoff run team. I don't. Could we possibly sneak out the Central? Yeah, I think we could. We're currently 4 games out of first place, though.
Yeah.
So that's not a great place to be. And if we're going to play platoon ball with Adell and Lowe, no, I don't think we're going to, because they're going to play every other day. And that's not how you win. It's just not how you win. I made that as my main point in the first hour, and I'll repeat it. Platoon ball has equaled 2 years in a row 30th in most offensive categories. It doesn't work. These guys need to play every day. But I think as you look at everybody, and I love Griffin. I think he's a great piece. Ciccone to the bullpen, I'm all for it. I expected that he would be a great starting pitcher for the Guardians this year. Didn't happen. Just didn't happen for whatever reason. Last night, I wasn't that impressed either. I just wasn't. Yoho looks good. I like him. On paper, he's definitely an addition. He's another nice arm to the bullpen. But I just think it's Adell. I think he's the obvious answer to which of these guys can be the best down the stretch. My question is, are any of them going to be regulars? We know that Griffin is the starting pitcher, is out there every 5th day. Yoho might be out there 2 days out of 4, maybe 3 out of 5, that kind of thing. So he's not an everyday guy. Adell and Lowe, if they're platoon just like everyone else, you'll get the same results.
Well, that's depressing.
I'm sorry, Jay. I know it is depressing. I hate it.
I didn't want to follow. That's why I pointed to you. I was like, I'm a little more optimistic. I don't want to go next.
Well, I'm gonna agree with you on Adell, and I didn't hear on the broadcast last night. I was in and out. I didn't hear them say anything about a platoon. I'm gonna be optimistic and say he's gonna be in the lineup every day because he walks into the clubhouse as the home run leader on that team.
Stunning.
So he has got to be in the lineup every day because you need someone with some slug. And he has that. And we talked yesterday, Bull brought up, I didn't realize this. He had 30 home runs off right-handers last year. 30 home runs off right-handers. I don't care what the average is on a guy like that.
I don't either.
You need somebody who can hit the ball out of the ballpark because that's how you win in October. You don't win in October playing, I hate this guards ball crap. That drives me crazy. Guards ball means we don't have guys who can hit the ball out of the ballpark, so we have to play silly things like bunt with.
It's like we're playing zone in basketball because you don't have guys who can actually guard.
So I think it's going to be Adell. I really like Foster Griffin. I think there's a path to an extension. I wrote about that for this morning. I would love to see them sign him after the season. I don't think it would be anything unreasonable. He's 31. He's not going to get some Scooble type of contract. I looked at Michael Wacha as a comp. I think if you can lock him up for 3 years and $51 million, after this year. I think that's reasonable, and certainly they have the payroll flexibility to do something like that. But I want to see how he pitches here because there is, if you look at some of the numbers and some of the data, I think he was pitching over his skis a little bit. If you look at FIP and things like that,
right?
That
That's the 12-3 could be a tad deceiving.
Yeah, no, it's not a tad deceiving. It's deceiving.
But I mean, the WHIP is great, the ERA is great, but
what's Bibby's ERA? Very similar, and what's his win loss?
Well, there's some stuff under the hood with Griffin that but he throws 7 pitches. He's not overpowering. He's not one of these guys that throws 98, 99 and strikes everybody out. Yeah. He's a crafty lefty.
Yep.
But
I'm good with that.
Yeah, and Yoho throws at a weird angle. He's got a great changeup. I think he's more of a deception guy. I think he'll be a great help in that bullpen. I don't think he's an 8th inning guy, necessarily.
I don't either.
And Lowe is very much a platoon guy. Mm-hmm. But he's the heavy platoon guy as the left-hander. I think he's going to fit in very well. So I'm going to say Adell, and I hope that he's not a platoon bat.
If the question is who will be the most impactful player for the Guardians down the stretch, I'm going with Foster Griffin because of the Guardians' success with pitchers and their lack of success with hitters. We talked about it in the first hour as Manzardo, a guy who was traded by Cleveland or traded to Cleveland from Tampa Bay. You've seen the ups, the downs, the dips, but Foster Griffin's a guy who's having an incredible season. Bull talked about his whole story. Top prospect, didn't pan out, goes overseas, spends 3 years in Japan, comes back and was an all-star this year.
He was great in Japan.
He was perfect in Japan, was an all-star this year for Washington on a team that had a good offense. His numbers, if you look under the hood, Jason, you're right, probably shouldn't be 12-3, but by no means bad. And every time the Guardians get a pitcher, or not every time, but a lot of the time when the Guardians bring a pitcher, and they're able to get the absolute best out of a guy like that. And this is a player in Foster Griffin that I think is going to be reinvigorated and re-energized by being entered into a legitimate playoff push, a playoff chase. It's a 1-year rental at the moment, so if the Guardians want to wring every ounce out of it, they have the ability to. I don't think they will because I think an extension could be in play. But he's the best player they acquired this season. He's been the best player they've acquired. And with the Guardians' track record of getting the best out of pitchers, I think the answer to me is Foster Griffin. He's going to be the most valuable of the 4 players they acquired at the deadline in terms of the Guardians making a deep playoff push.
I think I might agree with your point that he's the best player that but I don't think he can be the most impactful just because we've got 50, not even 50 games left.
He may only
48
start
games left.
7,
that
8
gives
games.
him 8 starts. Yeah. If he goes 8-0, that's fantastic, but you still have 42 games that he's not going to touch the field.
That's fair.
That's just why I think it'll be Adell that has the biggest impact. We're only 3 out. For some reason, I thought we were 4 out.
Chicago lost last night. Got their doors blown off by Boston.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And I also saw that Skubal lost his debut with the Dodgers.
He did.
Bullpen blew it.
Yep. I mean, he gave up 2 runs, but
so he pitched well. The bullpen just
yeah. And the offense wasn't there for him. But look, I hope all these guys are great. I hope they do what they did last year and finally woke up in September. But if they do that, and if they win the division, it can still be an early bounce if they don't get their lineup solidified. This whole changing every single day, I'm more down. I never liked it. I'm more down on it now than I have ever been.
I asked these guys yesterday that if I'm using the number 50, Jay, as an arbitrary number.
Yeah.
If prior to these 4 deadline moves, you had the Guardians at a 50 out of 100, and you could use, honestly, it doesn't matter what number.
Yesterday.
I'm using a random arbitrary number.
Right.
Where do you see them at now with the addition of Adell, Griffin, Lowe, and Yoho?
Fair question. 55?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Why? Where do you have them?
I went from 60 to 80, 85.
They
added 2 legitimate middle-of-the-order bats.
Yeah. They also added 2 guys that will touch the field once every 5 days maybe twice every 5 days.
Lowe's going to play almost every day because you face a right.
No, I know. But they also, the 2 pitchers, like that's what I'm saying. An arm is nice. That's not what we need. We don't need arms.
No, but I don't believe Adell's going to be a platoon. Maybe I'm wrong.
I guess we'll start to find out. In a
think
week from now, we'll know.
I think they added 2 middle-of-the-order bats at the trade.
Everyday bats? No, Lowe's not an everyday bat.
But most days.
He's the heavy platoon, but he's not an everyday bat.
So what's your ideal lineup then? If you're looking at this against the righty.
Look, I'm not going to make an ideal lineup against the righties because obviously you're going to look at that and say it's going to need to be left-handed heavy. But
no, I'm asking you if Jay Crawford was calling the shots on how the Guardians would set.
I wouldn't make a lineup for righties and lefties. I wouldn't.
So who's your ideal lineup?
I would break camp and I would say, Quan, you are my leadoff hitter. It's written in stone. By the way, his resurgence,
red hot.
Yeah.
But here's what's crazy about this. As red hot as he has been in the month of July and beyond, I think he's close to 400, maybe over it.
He's
got like
average,
3 RBI.
Yeah, no, his batting average is up to 258.
Which he was around 200.
Like barely over 200 for most of the season.
Hovered there all year. He's been, it's possible that he could finish like 280, 290 if he keeps hitting like this. But what's even more jarring is in the leadoff spot for the entire month of July. I think he had 14 RBI when the month started, and he's at 18 or 19 now.
He's at 21.
So as hot as he's been, does Quan have 21 ribs? I thought he was still in the teens.
I updated this morning. I'm pretty sure it's 21.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I mean, 21 RBI for a guy that's hitting
not good.
Over 400 for 5 weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, he was dreadful for most of the season and dropped to 9th. I mean, should he have more than 21? Sure.
He's my leadoff guy, and I don't think there's any really.
So game 1 of the playoffs. I don't care who you're facing. What's your lineup?
Give me Quan in left field, batting first.
Okay.
Now this is the big question mark, and that's Jose. What is he? I don't know.
It's a fair question.
If it was normal Jose, then he's at third base, penned in, and he's my second hitter every single day. So those are the 2 easy ones. I'm probably putting Adell at 3 and in right field. And I know there's been some talk about his defensive play. He's the guy that robbed 3 home runs in 1 game this year.
Yeah, but
now I know that's an athletic play.
Yeah.
There are other times where I've seen him when he was in his last life where I'm like, oh wow,
it looked like
I just thought he was a Gold Glover because earlier this year he robbed 3 home runs in 1 game. But then when you watch him every day, you realize there are deficiencies.
Yeah.
He's not a Gold Glover out in right field, but he would be my everyday right fielder batting third. My cleanup guy, my goodness. I mean, that's been the biggest question mark for this team.
It's got to be Chase at that point, right?
I would think it would be DeLauder, but now he's going to be your DH, and that's going to screw up everything because, see, I can't get out of the mindset of I know how they're building things. I know how they're doing things. Well, he's my DH on some days, then he's my right fielder on other days, and who's pitching. I just think that's the worst way in the world to build a lineup.
DeLauder's the one I'll give them a break on because I think they're trying to protect him from himself and save the wear and tear on his body because he's had so many injuries.
I'm okay with that.
So I think you need to DH him more often than a normal everyday player.
I would still, and you know what? I mean, where do you play him every day? If you've got Adell every day in right field,
well, that's why I said yesterday.
Where is he playing?
I'm not screwing with DeLauder. I leave DeLauder in right, and I'd make Odell.
You'd make Adell the
left
field,
and I'd put Quan in center.
Okay, well,
every day, Quan center field.
I'd be fine with that lineup. I just want him there every day.
Yeah.
I don't want him going back and forth between left field and center field. I think that's just as disruptive to a player's psyche as not knowing where I'm going to hit in the lineup.
And that might be why he started the season so slow. He was
juggling, trying to figure out a new position. And by the way, where does he win the Gold Glove this year is the only question. They just give him for outfield, don't they? They give 3 outfielders? I feel like they do.
Yeah.
I don't think they give a left field, a center field, and a right field. I could be wrong.
Started the game last night with a hell of a catch.
That catch was unbelievable, guys.
Yeah.
That catch was and then he doubled off a runner later in the game. Like I don't know where he's going to win. If they just give 3, he's locked in at one of them. Because he, again, even though he's made some errors this year, he's a Gold Glove outfielder. And I wish that he was in the same place every day, but you're right. If you want to play him every day, then put him in center field, lock him in there, put Adell every day at left field. I guess your everyday first, that's where you really run into things because you know how much they love to platoon.
Right.
Like, it's almost like they'll never have an everyday first baseman. But Bazana's the second baseman, Rocchio's the shortstop, and Jose, if he's healthy, is the 3. Mm-hmm. Why is Gabe Arias still on this team?
I've been trying to fire him into the sun for 6 weeks.
I can't figure that out. I can't figure it out. Like I couldn't figure out why Rhys Hoskins was the cleanup hitter last night. I couldn't figure that out. There's no logic. There's no argument to support that. I heard something. I don't know if you guys were listening to this or not. It was one of the backup analysts. It was not Rick Manning. Was during a game said of Gabe Arias. Part of the reason he's so frustrated is because, or it's so frustrating with him, is because he has as much talent as Mike Trout.
Oh,
That is
Yes,
That-
it was
that-
said. It was said.
that is a take that goes in the worst take of all time, Hall of Fame.
I almost fell
With all
over
due
when I heard
respect
it.
to whoever said
I
it.
know there are people on that team who've been intoxicated with some of his tools and traits, but he's
He's got a
nowhere.
lot of tools. He does.
he
He's
does.
not Mike
can't-
Trout, though.
He can't stop swinging at bad pitches. He's oftentimes a good morning, good afternoon, and good night strikeout. And sometimes there's no ball that was thrown over the plate. He'll just chase 3 straight pitches. So when I heard that, I just thought, oh my God, he was just compared to Mike Trout. In what
crazy.
world are we living? All right, we're gonna take a break. What are we gonna do on the backside? Are we gonna do Warren Sharp?
Warren Sharp's list.
Okay, so Warren
Sharp's
Sharp
list, I'm
has
sorry.
announced his top 10 defensive front sevens. Where are the Browns, and do we agree when we come back?